I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you'll be lean and mean, guaranteed. Yeah, sign. Everywhere a sign. Blocking out the scenery, breaking my mind. That's right. That's what we were talking about back in 1971. Lot has not changed since then. As a matter of fact, I go as far as to say nothing has changed. So anyone,
at least for the better, a lot has changed. But I would argue that it hasn't necessarily changed for the better. Some things have, right?
Listen, folks, anyone who's screaming into the void, stop, because nothing changes.
It's just different flavors, right?
Yeah, it's the same. You know, look, as a friend of mine used to say, same shit, different day.
The best example of that, Vinny,
yeah.
You know, all of the controversy around screen time for kids and when you should give a kid a cell phone or a tablet and when you shouldn't, right, because we don't want to make them dumb. Right. We've literally been having the same arguments since the printing press was invented. One of the big arguments against the printing press was that it was going to make people dumber because they wouldn't have to remember things if they could look it up in a book. Right? It's the same situation we're in now, just the medium has changed. It's the only thing that's changed.
Chris, I'm not kidding. When you were my age, you are a little too young. I'm sure your parents have talked about this. The average person my age, I'm 62, we had between 25 and 35 phone numbers in our head, right? For friends and family and, you know, everything, right? Pizza Man, he delivers. New Orleans, 866-8611. That's from 1985, 1982, 81. When we'd order a pizza from Pizza Man, he delivers. That was the whole name of the place, right? I still remember my phone number from when I was a kid. You remembered phone numbers. The average person say, I know Serena's phone number. I have to think about my own. And the only reason I remember Serena's is because when you go to the grocery store and they say, put in your number, it's her number. Otherwise, I wouldn't know it. I couldn't tell you Tallulah. My daughter, I could not tell you her number. Period. At all. Talk to her all the time. I just press the button that says Tallulah. And she magically appears or doesn't appear. Right?
Whatever the case may be. Yeah.
If I said the name to you, Zola, don't look it up. Zola Bud. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No idea.
Zola Bud, I want to say she was South African. She was an Olympic middle to long distance runner. And she famously ran in the Olympics without shoes. Now, why would I bring up Zola Bud? No idea. Chris, this is not just a visual thing. People listen to us, so don't just shake your head. You got to
go. Why would you bring it up? I don't know. Tell me.
Who did she trip in the Olympics?
That I don't know. I can tell you I do know that was before my time.
Oh, it was way before your time. She tripped a woman named Mary Decker Slanley. By the way, Chris, as you know, I ain't looking at no computer right now. This is all up in my nugget, as you know. I never look shit up.
In your nugget? In your nugget? Yeah. Not in your noggin. In your nugget.
In my nugget. That's right.
All right. It brings a whole new meaning to chicken nuggets to me. I don't know.
Or should I say my nougat?
Your nougat.
Zola Bud tripped Mary Decker Slanley, who was the favorite to win. I want to say it was the 1,600 meter. Look it up for me, Chris. You know I can't look up shit. It wasn't the 800. I want to say it was the 1,600. It was a longer race. And Mary Decker was the odds-on favorite to win it. And she was tripped by Zola Bud. The woman with no shoes on. Did I get any of that close to correct?
3,000 meter final in the
Oh,
1984
it's a
Olympics.
3,000 meter. It wasn't even, so it wasn't middle distance. It was longer distance. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. So I guess she tripped and kicked her leg out and tripped the other runner.
Something like that. And then Mary Decker famously cried on television.
Here you go. Her left leg shot out as she tripped and stumbled, tripping Decker.
Yeah. If I remember right, Mary Decker was, I'm remembering the scene. Her boyfriend was like the shot putter or discus thrower at the time. I don't think they were married. And he came and picked her up, scooped her up off the track. Big behemoth.
Carrie Strug style.
Kind of, yeah. What was his name? Slanley? By the way, if I get this right, I'm the smartest guy on the planet.
Who?
I didn't look any of this up. This all came to my mind 5 minutes ago because who we're talking about today.
So who am I looking for now? Who came and picked her up?
Yeah, I want to say it was a boyfriend or a husband who was also on the track and field. He was on the field side of things.
Richard Slanley, a British discus thrower.
Yeah, and she became Mary Decker Slanley, or she was already Mary Decker Slanley.
It was her boyfriend, later husband, according to our good friends over at Wikipedia.
Okay. Ask me when my mom's birthday is. Couldn't tell you.
Your brain works a little like mine. I know nothing useful.
This goes under little known, even less cared for facts that my brain.
Weird. You would do great in useless track and field trivia.
Don Coddington is always pretty much amazed at that. You know, that I'm always doing that. And he can't figure out how I do it.
Is it just rote? Like, have you thought about that a lot? Or is it more of like a photographic thing where you're like, that's a weird fact, and then you remember it?
I don't know. Like the other day I watched Jaws again, right? It's 50 years since Jaws came out. And in the opening scene, when the girl is running to the beach and taking her clothes off, I went, oh, look, that's Backlenny. That's Backlenny. Her name is Backlenny, right? And at first I went, is it Chrissy Backlenny? I went, no, her name is Chrissy in the movie. It's like Lauren or Susan Backlenny or something. So but that's the first person that died in Jaws. Her name was something Backlenny. I'm going to go with Susan, although it might be Lauren. Can you look it up and tell me who it was?
In Jaws?
But the character was Chrissy Watkins, maybe. And the actress was Susan Backlenny. Yeah, it's got to be Susan because my mind just went to Susan Backlenny. And
Susan Backlenny. Yep. Victim Chrissy Watkins in Jaws.
Yeah.
She died about a year ago, by the way. Almost exactly a year ago. May 12th. No longer with
us. How old was she?
77.
And if I remember right, she ended up like her career went nowhere except she ended up posing nude like in Hustler or Penthouse. She didn't even make Playboy, if I remember right. Like her career went nowhere. Like that was her career. And I think she ended up in a couple of, nudie magazines, but it wasn't even like Playboy.
So that apparently is also how she got the part in Jaws. She was working as a casting extra when a request came in for someone who's willing to work in the nude and was a good swimmer. So she sent a nude picture of herself to Steven Spielberg, which brought her to his attention. I'd say so. If you use me, you can get good close-ups of the stunt itself, she said. If you use an actress, she'll have to hide her face. She was hired immediately.
Yeah. I see. I didn't even know that. I just knew that she was, and I knew the woman, like, I don't know, Serena is good friends with the woman who's like in her 80s now, who was supposed to do that part. And Backlenny got it in front of her. And that woman became just one of the people, like an extra on the beach that would go, look, shark, or something during the movie. I've never been able to find Serena's friend in the movie, although she claims she's in there.
So is Richard Dreyfuss, I know this is not what we're here to talk about, but is Richard Dreyfuss really the only one out of that movie that had a killer career afterwards?
Well, Robert
Like,
Shaw.
I know Roy, was it Roy Scheider?
Roy Scheider has a career.
He was in a lot of stuff, but not anything that I would be able to recall off the top of my head. Maybe from the early 90s.
Yeah, Roy Scheider had been around for a long time before, more or less a television actor, you know, and then I don't know, he didn't become a big movie star from this, you know, but most of this movie he was either sweating or fearful of something or yelling, I think we need a bigger boat. Right. So he didn't really stand out. I mean, Dreyfuss was the one that really stood out was, Robert Shaw, right? Who was singing the songs and Dull Eyes Dark. We were in the water for 72 hours. And apparently he was drunk when he delivered that monologue, like really drunk, and just got it the first time, just boom, delivered it. Amazing, right?
Yeah. Well, he should be drunk for that, right? That's not that. I think that's called method acting.
So
right?
method acting is when you can act drunk and not actually be drunk. He was actually drunk and he was a method actor.
No,
So
who's the actor that always puts himself totally into the role? He played Lincoln and like lived in a log cabin.
yeah. God, a lot of method actors do that. I don't know, I can't remember. But a lot of method
Everybody's
actors
screaming at it. This is podcasts with Vinnie and I. We're like, who's that guy from the thing? Daniel Day-Lewis. Right?
Yeah.
Speaking of another Spielberg movie. But if Lincoln had to be drunk for something, don't you think he would be drunk for it?
You would
if you
think.
are Lincoln.
Right.
If you're a salty old drunk fisherman, you're supposed to be drunk.
I think he was an alcoholic, Chris, is the point I'm trying to make. But
okay.
Let's get back to Zola Budd and Mary Decker Slanley. Mary Decker. Her name sounds very close to a fitness influencer out there. Think about it, Chris. Mary Decker. There's a fitness influencer out there who's telling people to add hydrogen to water. Sounds a lot like Mary Decker.
I got nothing.
Nothing, Chris?
Nope.
Joe Rogan has him on. Got goofy haircut.
Oh, I'm thinking lady because you said Mary. Are you talking about Brecca?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to. Let's just call him Mary Decker for the.
All right.
That sounds a lot like his name, though, right?
Yeah. Now that I'm acquainted with, I was like, Mary Decker, who is a female fitness influencer.
Yeah, this is a male guy, and he's got a lot to say. And everyone started writing to me. But you see what goes on my my X. I'm on X all the time. I'm posting a lot on X, folks. You go follow me on X. And people are going, hey, man, should I be adding hydrogen to my water? Mary Decker says I need to add hydrogen to my water. He said it on Joe Rogan's show.
So it must be true.
And I'm going, wait a minute. I was pretty good in chemistry. Water is 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen. Should you be adding more hydrogen to hydrogen? I don't even know if that's possible. Can you get 3 parts hydrogen into water? So I ordered these things right here. Is my name on the front here? No, it's not. I ordered these things. Can you see it?
H2 tabs. So hydrogen tablets.
Yeah. So the idea is it tells you right here in the thing, serving size, 1 tablet. There's 30 in here. And what you get in here is the active ingredients is magnesium. 80 milligrams. That's it. Now, Chris, at Pure Vitamin Club, we have a magnesium, and go on.
What else is in there?
Other ingredients, dextrose, which is sugar. Malic acid, tartaric acid, and adipic acid. So 3 acids. That's what makes it go fizzy. They add sugar and everything else. But the active ingredients is 80 milligrams of magnesium. They don't even tell you what kind of magnesium. I'm sure it's not one of the more expensive ones.
No.
Right? So basically all they're doing is giving you 80 milligrams. This product is called H2 tabs, molecular hydrogen.
And by molecular hydrogen, they mean magnesium.
How much magnesium do we have in one serving of our magnesium?
Ooh, I actually have to look.
I'm going to say 200 milligrams.
It sounds right.
So 120 milligrams. And by the way, Chris is going to name the 4 magnesiums we have in there.
Hold up. And
by the way, this is not an ad for me. We're going to get onto this product because let me know when you have it, Chris, because this product, go on.
It's a 200 milligram blend of magnesium carbonate, glycinate, tartarate, and citrate.
Yeah.
Sorry, taurate. I said tartarate because I'm talking to Vinnie. Tortorich.
Yeah. We all knew what you meant.
Yeah.
All you get is 80 grams of magnesium here. Now, according to Mary Decker, this is going to change your life. It's going to change your life, folks. You're going to be a clearer thinker. All sorts of things. You're going to become superhuman, you name it. By superhydrogenating the hydrogen in your water, this is going to make you, okay, this is fucking charlatan bullshit. Because I took it as prescribed. Nothing happened. I mentioned this to my buddy, Don Coddington. Sorry, hang on.
It's the billionaire Don Coddington's Friday, 5 o'clock blast off. Have a good weekend.
I mentioned it to Don Coddington. And he said, well, I see Gary Brecker doing it on videos. He's adding like 3 or 4 every time he takes it. So I went, all right, I got a 30-day supply. I'm not planning on going the whole 30 days. I added 3 or 4. Nothing happened. 0. Matter of fact, Chris, you know what? Do I have a glass here of some sort? I got a cup up there. You know what? I'm going to add it to this glass since it's a clear glass. I'm going to drink the rest of this, wherever I have here. Booch. Chris, do me a favor. Do a Pure Vitamin Club ad while I add water to this. Tell people why Pure Vitamin Club is so great.
I think the biggest reason, Vinny, is that the stuff we sell is actually designed to work. We're not selling things that are not backed by science. For example, Vinny, the magnesium that we sell over at purevitaminclub.com, we don't just give one form of magnesium. A lot of magnesium supplements will give you one form of magnesium. And that's enough to get you what is assumed to be the RDA of magnesium, or the percentage that they put on the back of the bottle. But in a lot of cases, it's not well absorbed, or it causes other things like, I don't know, running very quickly to the bathroom. So what we do over at purevitaminclub.com is we take a look at everything that's available. For something like the magnesium, we include the 4 different forms that we were just talking about to give you the benefits of all 4 of those, give you the increased absorption without any of the, let's call them downstream side effects, Vinny, that you can get from taking too much of the wrong kinds of magnesium, which appears to be, Vinny, what you're getting in those beautiful, beautiful H2 tablets. But we don't just have the magnesium over there. We have a little bit of everything from a daily multicap, if you just want to cover your bases, to something like vitamin C, which appears to be a heck of a lot more useful in terms of most of the benefits that people claim that come from hydrogenated water than the little bit of magnesium you're getting out of the H2 tabs. And it comes in at a heck of a lot lower price per dose. Did you get yourself some water there, Mr. Vinny?
I have water. And what I did was I have 4 of these tabs. Now, I've seen Gary Brecka use 3, or Don has. I haven't. And so here's the deal. Without taking any of his product, I told you about, what year was that, 1982 Olympics? Which Olympics was Zola Bud? And
I think it was 84.
84. Yeah, that's right, the LA Games. Okay. I remember all of that off the top of my head. Mary Decker Slan. I knew she was dating a guy named Slanley, and they got married. I knew he was a field guy.
Discus thrower.
A discus thrower. I was telling you guys, I don't Google this shit, folks. Chris Googled it and saw it. He Googled me right. Okay? I told you that Zola Bud ran without shoes and tripped up Mary Decker. I told you guys who the woman was who got killed in Jaws. Not Chrissy Watkins, which was her name in the movie and in the book. I read the book. Maybe that's what, I have a photographic memory. I read the book when I was 12. But I knew that the actual actress's name was Backlenny, Susan Backlenny, who went on to great things like Penthouse. Okay, I did all of that without taking any of Gary Brecka's pills. Now, I have water right here. I'm doing an experiment on the air here. I have water. That's 1. Now, I'm taking one for the team because there's dextrose in here, and I don't eat sugar. That's 3, and that's 4, Chris. You see, I have 4 of them in there. You see them in there?
Kind of. It's very, very effervescent at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until they all dissolve. They got to dissolve. So we're going to wait. I'm going to just put it down here. And then I'm going to drink it all and see if my memory gets better. Right? We'll see how much better my memory gets and if I feel better. Because I'm now hydrogenating the F out of this water. Let's see. That's 80 times 80. That's what? 160 times 2. What does that come to? That's 320 grams of magnesium here. I'm going to be soaking down. We're going to see what happens. Hopefully I won't get the shits by the end of the show, Chris.
I was going to say, if they put the wrong form of magnesium in there, that could be a problem.
Maybe, you know what? This might not be a good experiment.
Well, if you let it sit too long, all of the extra hydrogen leaves. Right? So as long as they're not...
As soon as, look, it's real cloudy now. It's really hydrogenating, Chris. I still see, I'm looking at the bottom and the things are still, they're still doing their thing. But I'm going to see if that charlatan, Gary Brecka, knows what he's talking about. Maybe he's not a charlatan. Maybe he's telling the truth. But every time I see him with this little cute girl haircut, I wonder, it's like, what's this guy talking about? Like, he came out of nowhere. And now, my life is full of him.
Well, you know, and I do want to get into some of the claimed benefits and some of the quote unquote science behind it.
All right, let's get into it now.
But he's no longer advocating that you drink it as much as that you bathe in it.
I did not know that.
That's the new thing.
I got to put this in my tub.
He suggested not doing it with the tablets because you'd have to use like a box and a half. But he is now bathing religiously in hydrogenated water.
Okay.
So just based on my quick Googling after you and I talked about this, there's a few things that people claim around hydrogen water.
Okay, go on.
The first one is the antioxidant potential. So they're saying, hey, HRW, which is the lingo for hydrogen-rich water, potentially acts as a therapeutic antioxidant, helping to neutralize excess free radicals that drive oxidative stress. Small human studies support this. Long-term drinkers of hydrogen water show significantly lower levels of oxygen metabolites, a measure of oxidative stress, than non-drinkers. However, they were drinking 1.5 liters of hydrogenated water per day for like 10 weeks before they saw any difference.
Okay.
Along with that, right? Anytime you have something that's an antioxidant, you hear claims of the anti-inflammatory effects. Basically, there's essentially no evidence behind that other than one small study. There's a lot of performance and recovery claims. So they're saying it gives you a slight performance boost in exercise, reduces exercise fatigue, and can create a higher VO2 max with a lower exertion on the Borg scale. I don't know what the Borg scale is compared to the placebo. They also ran a study, Vinnie, on cyclists and found that after 7 days of hydrogen-rich water, they don't say how much, they increased their peak mean and power input in an all-out sprint test versus regular water. Like 7 people in that study. It's also supposed to reduce your lactate and increase explosive performance. You know what else does all of those things? Creatine. Coffee. On all of these things, it's very subjective in a short trial with small sample sizes.
Right. So it looks like, like all of these small studies, they're always squinting to get to something. I didn't hear anything. By the way, I do know what the Borg scale is. It's a scale that measures perceived effort.
That makes sense.
Okay. That and nothing is the same thing, right? What was your perception? Oh, I felt better after, okay. So that could be because of the placebo effect. See, I'm not susceptible to placebo stuff because I've been in this game since I was a kid. I've tried everything over the years. I bought into everything. And if I couldn't see numbers, meaning in weightlifting or running or cycling or whatever, that was that, right? And you mentioned creatine. That's something where it's not just a perceived effort. You can measure it, right? It's one of the most studied products out. I can't drink any more of this. I drank about half of it. I can't. This is crap. This is crap.
So Vinnie, it looks like they're using elemental magnesium.
Okay.
So that's it. Technically, it's all of the forms of magnesium kind of bound up in one. The weird thing with this is this just seems to be another one of the better water things. You remember a couple years ago, alkaline water was a big deal.
Oh, that was a huge.
What was it? BLK. You remember BLK water? It was alkaline water with activated carbon in it. Which, by the way, drank one once. My pee smelled like metal for a week, which was probably not good.
Yeah.
Then, do you remember DDW? DDW, deuterium depleted water?
No, that's not. No.
That was like 2018, 2019. It never really took off because it was really expensive. But that was supposed to make you more hydrated than regular water, right? And now we have hydrogen-rich water, which is H2O with extra hydrogen crammed into it, as long as you drink it fast enough that it doesn't all evaporate.
Bubble out, right.
And so, just for reference, Vinnie, what did that box of tablets cost you?
I do not know.
I can Google this on the fly too.
I got it from Amazon, but whenever people get to me and go, "Oh, you got to try. Come on, what's going on? What is this?" Okay, I got to see what's doing. So I just bought it, as I do a lot of things, just to let the audience know whether they should try this or not. Look, if I got a good result from it, I would be here saying something completely different. I didn't get any good result from it. at all.
Oh, good Lord. They have flavored varieties now too.
I saw that when I was there too. I had to go through to get to the plane.
So $30 a box. How many come in a box?
30.
30?
$1
a dollar each.
Yeah.
To get potentially some anti-inflammatory benefits, antioxidant benefits, potential recurring benefits on the recovery front. Vinnie, your German creatine, which we know will give you that same ATP boost, muscle recovery, and has more studies behind it than probably anything else on the planet in terms of supplementation and the effect on the body. Is it wrong of me to say it's probably the most studied supplement just because it's the easiest thing to add in?
It is the most studied. I first learned about creatine in the 80s, right? And it used to come in pill form, if you can believe that. It's like it's been around for a long time. I've messed around with it for a while, got away from it, messed around with it over the years. Only lately, as part of my health regimen and trying to keep extra muscle on and stay strong, about 3-4 years ago, I went on and I only use any product that has CreaPure. As a matter of fact, we've been looking at them to bring them on board at my company, purevitaminclub.com, because we have inside information. Chris and I have inside information, basically. Not basically, we have inside information about
We're part of the cabal.
Yeah. And the best product out there is any product with CreaPure where they're not adding any flavors in. And Chris mentioned German creatine. So the one I get is a company called German Creatine. And
the other name you may see is CreaVital. Which is CreaPure, just under a different name. Yeah.
So we're giving you guys inside baseball right now, right? So, and by the way, I don't make a dime off of telling you guys about this unless I start, buying it and selling it under my brand. And people go, wait, is that a white label? No, it's the best form. It's kind of like when I tell people, when you take vitamin E, which we don't sell, take one that's made by Dixie Laboratories because they're making tocotrienol. No one else in the United States that I'm aware of is making tocotrienol. If you're taking tocopherol, you're not getting anything. You might as well not, right? I'll always tell you guys the truth.
And that's the thing that's kind of frustrating with this is, one, it's too early to know. All of the studies around this have like 10 people or 20 people. It's a week-long one. And Vinnie, I actually had an article pulled up here about protein for strength training, vegan diet matches meat for muscle gains. 20 people in the study over 9 days, right? That's the level of evidence that is behind most of the hydrogen water stuff. It's not to say that it doesn't give you any benefit, but all of the claimed benefits you can get through doing a few really basic things. The first thing is taking something like creatine. That will get you, and it's proven to get you all of the anti-inflammatory effects, the performance and recovery effects, the cognitive function effects. And that's something a lot of people don't talk about with creatine, is that it actually does boost cognitive abilities. It gives you some effects in just about every area. The only one that it doesn't really affect is metabolism and cardiovascular health. But you know what does help there? Magnesium, which is probably where you're getting the benefit out of the hydrogenated water because you're drinking magnesium. And most people are deficient in magnesium.
Yeah.
So if you do that, you get a little bit of exercise, take some creatine, maybe take some magnesium, you're going to get all of those benefits without having to chug a glass of milk water every day.
Right. And when you think about it, all right, let's use our product, right? What do we charge for a 90-day supply of our product where you're getting 200 milligrams per day? Just to let you guys know. And by the way, we're using 4 of the top forms of magnesium to create this product.
And you're getting essentially 2.5 of the hydrogen tabs worth of that magnesium in there, right? Let's see. $23.45 on subscription right now.
All right, so 23. So let me do the math here. So we're going to say 24. Can we say 24? Just to keep divided by 90. We're talking
27 cents.
26.6. Yeah, 27 cents a day for 200 milligrams. 26 cents a day for 200. They're charging you $1 for 80 milligrams. Do you see where the lie is, folks? You know how much money they're making on that? We're actually making money at 26 cents a serving of 200 milligrams. Go on, Chris.
So if you add in the creatine, Vinny,
right?
Just so we're covering all of the bases.
Right.
German creatine on Amazon, $35 for 100 servings. That comes out to 26 cents a day. 35 cents a day. Plus the 26 or 27 cents, you're talking 61 or 62 cents a day versus $1 a day. And you're getting substantially more benefit out of it.
Of each.
Than you would be otherwise.
Way more of each. Almost half the cost. And you're getting not double, probably quadruple the benefit out of taking those two things. So that's how the lie happens, folks. You'll get a guy, he's charismatic, he's a good-looking guy, he goes on Joe Rogan, and all of a sudden everyone's calling me, hey, what about superhydrogenating my already superhydrogenated drink, which is known as water? And at first I was like, water already has 2 parts hydrogen, and I don't see how, that's not the way chemistry works, right? Your body's not going to respond to a third hydrogen being in there, and it's coming in the form of magnesium, right?
And that's the thing that's interesting. If we think about, and it's not to say that this does nothing, right? But if we look at what is the likely culprit, it's that 70 to 80% of Americans are magnesium deficient.
Right.
Right. Obviously, if you add magnesium back in, you're going to get some of those benefits that you would have if you had the correct level of magnesium. Right. So if we set aside, calling someone a charlatan or a huckster or whatever, and we just look at the perceived benefits that come from this, you can do the same thing in a much better way by adding creatine and magnesium for less of a cost. Why is it that some people perceive that they get the benefits of this? Because they're adding the magnesium back in that they're deficient in. And it's just it's not necessarily boosting them. It's bringing them to the level where they should be. Right. And it may come out 5 years from now when they do a ton of studies on this, that if you put 50 of those in or you bathe in it, that it gives you some additional benefits. But there's no reason to be worried about that when you can get the same or better benefits for less cost by adding in magnesium and creatine to your routine. Am I missing something here?
No, you're not. You're really not. Look, as you know, I take, as part of my health regimen, I take our magnesium off program. 200 milligrams is all you need. I take 400 milligrams every night and wake up and take another 200 milligrams in the morning. And I've been doing that for years as part of my don't get cancer again protocol. Right? I want my magnesium to be very high all the time. There's no upper limit on it. My stomach tolerates it. I never get sick. I never get the shits. I never get anything. So why not? Right? I do the same thing with vitamin E. It's a twice-a-day protocol. Tocotrienol. I take it. I also take, on top of my D3 with K, with MK4 and MK7, I take more MK7 on top of that, more methaquinone 7 on top of that as part of my health regimen, right? I don't talk about these things that often. By the way, I don't make all of those products, folks. I'm buying other brands of really pure stuff. It's hard to find, but it's out there. And I do it because I'm trying to outlive cancer, right? Besides eating right, these are some of the things I do. I never miss taking my vitamins every day, my multi-cap, never miss a day. As a matter of fact, I had to miss just like everyone else. When I say we were out when we couldn't get the stuff, that was the only time I missed in a long time. And Chris knows I was trying to buy other products. I could not find another product out there that was as pure as ours. I just had to do without. Right? It came down to that.
And that it feels like we're constantly looking for a new shortcut to stuff, and we forget the basics. And I know you and I have talked about it's as simple as eating real food, getting a little bit of exercise, and a little bit of sunshine. Like that's your 20% of effort that leads to 80% of results. Yeah. And we're still looking for magic pills. And again, it's not to say that there's absolutely no benefit from this, because you are getting, and I'm doing some extra research on the side here, Vinny. You do lose some of that magnesium when it turns into hydrogen gas, but the result is you get magnesium hydroxide, which is milk of magnesia.
Right.
So you are getting a decent amount of magnesium, which is why it looks milky when you put it in the water anyway, right? Have you ever used Natural Calm, Vinny, or seen Natural Calm to like mix in magnesium?
Yeah, I used it when our product was out. It's not as good as ours because you could give yourself the shits from it.
Oh, yeah. Not that hard to do either.
Yeah.
But it looks exactly the same. When you mix that into a glass of water, that's exactly the color and clarity that you got after you drop the hydrogen tabs in there.
Right.
It looks exactly the same. And it's because it's magnesium and water.
Right.
And so, I don't know. It's frustrating that we're finding new ways to do the same thing. And it's not to say that we shouldn't look for better ways of doing the things that we're doing. All we're finding at this point is more expensive ways to do things less efficiently than we already know how to do.
It is nuts. It really is nuts. But there you have it. Right. And Chris, we're going to make that the show today because we have so many things to get to here. VIP, folks. We're going to open it up at some point this summer. Not sure when. But if you want to be on the list, go to VinnieTortorich.com/VIP. Put your name on the list. Chris, how many names do we have on that list? Do you know?
Close to 1,000.
Yeah. Look, folks, I can just let 1,000 people in right now if I wanted to, but we're going to keep building up that list for a while longer. And when we open it up, let's get your name in there. And the VIP has helped probably more people. The reason I started the VIP, people go, what is it? What do you get? Well, you get accountability because we do check-ins. We have one coming up on the 1st at 5 o'clock. That's this coming. Well, the first of this show is coming out in several weeks, but it's coming up on June 1st, 5 p.m. And, it's a Sunday, but hey, I'll be here for as long as people want to talk to me. It's accountability. More people have lost more weight. I started doing this because I do phone calls every day where people can sign up and get a phone call. And that works great, but it ain't cheap, right? Some people go, oh my God, I can't believe I could talk to you for an hour for $200. Other people, they don't have $200. That's why we set up VIP. It's very affordable. I'm not going to really open it up until we have the workouts ready to go, because for the VIP people, the workouts are going to be part of their membership, right? They'll be able to access the 2-day-a-week routine, the 4-day-a-week routine, or the 6-day-a-week routine. Chris, I sent all the routines to you. Have you had a chance to look at them yet?
I got to watch through whatever the first one was that you sent. I think that was the shorter. That was the longer one. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I like it. I mean, I have, I don't know if you can see, like 7 pages of notes on stuff.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of small stuff. But I want to watch through the rest of them and see if it's legitimate or if it's just me being a.
No, I want you to be
whiny
nitpicky.
baby.
That's why I sent it to you.
Well, that's why I want to watch the other ones before I give you all the feedback.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for the feedback because, there are things I'm going to miss because all I'm looking at is give them the information. Chris would be like a consumer. So I said, Chris, look at this as a consumer, right? And we're going to figure this out. So go sign up for the VIP, VinnieTortorich.com/VIP. A lot of people just sit back and listen, right? Every time we do them. Other people, they write to each other. They become friends in the group. People are talking all the time. It's like its own little forum, like, what's that thing? Reddit. It's like its own little Reddit, except it's really cool.
I was waiting for the butt.
It's almost like Reddit, but it's not like Reddit. Go watch Jaws. It's worth it. I enjoy that. Let's see. Do I have music here? We're going to go out with the same band we came in with. Yeah. So, on behalf of Chris Shaffer, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with just a little bit more of the 5-man